I got a question, a thought. Let's do with the fall of Rome, and would that actually be a bad thing? Historically in America, we've been the oppressed people. Would the fall of the oppressors really be such a bad thing
Mm.
for the oppressed people?
Where do you think men being so loud and so direct about our grievances with our counterpoints, black men specifically, I guess, where do you think it's coming from? Really haven't seen a period of time where we were this loud about our expectations or what we don't like about our counterpart.
I'm say, man, because most niggas was raised by their mama, so they emulating,
Mm.
what they see.
If happiness is too easy, does it stunt growth? It's oppression due to the fact that it allows us to stay docile. There's nothing easier than keeping a class, i.e., say an underclass, distracted and happy off of easily satiable things instead of figuring out, oh, why is this shit wrong?
Welcome back to the 2B Fair Show. I am your host, Johnny P.
Go ahead, real.
It's cute.
And we back, season 3, episode 13. We got a few of them lined up. We're gonna talk about Rome,
Mm-hmm.
1984,
Well, I'm not talking about 1984. Brave New World.
Brave New
I might
World,
touch it a little bit 1984.
1984. What you got, Real?
That's my normal some
Women and
relationship
shit.
juice.
Oh
Uh-oh.
my
Ah,
god.
bro,
Oh
why
man.
you
Oh,
I
what
ain't
the
never
never?
said that.
Oh man.
I ain't never said that.
Oh,
You
never
ain't
mind.
never heard me say that. See,
I thought that's what you would have
hey,
said. That
you gotta check your home, bro. You gotta make sure your homeboys is your
Hey,
homeboys, bro. Cause nigga try to throw you under the
hey,
bus so
hey,
easily.
hey.
It wasn't even necessary. You see
I
what I'm
don't
talking
think
about?
I ain't never heard you say
I
that,
didn't say
man.
it, bro.
I ain't never heard you
Try
say
to make me
that.
look bad to our audience and
But
stuff.
look, wait, we'll get into that.
I got a box for him
He
anyway.
didn't even let him say what it was.
Oh no, it's
He did.
relationship juice. I said that.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Oh,
said
you
it.
just said it's just gonna be a relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll go ahead and get to the questions. I got a question, a thought,
Mm-hmm.
that I think that would be interesting. Um, let's do it. The fall of Rome.
Mm.
And would that actually be a bad thing? Based on kind of where we've in the past talked about where we see society at currently,
Mm-hmm.
and if you know anything about history, civilizations, societies, it's an art, and a lot of people compare. There's been memes going around this week where they've talked about how often they think about Rome, and they've talked about the similarities between American society and Roman society, and how the end of Roman society happened not too far after the peak. And it's kind of where we are as Americans. And I just wonder, as somebody who historically in America, we've been the oppressed people, with the fall of the oppressors really being such a bad thing
Mm.
for the oppressed people. So,
Okay, and just to make sure that so everybody understands, when you say Rome, what exactly about the Roman Empire are you speaking to compare it to current day, or how
well,
people feel we?
they talk about how like the Roman Empire, it was great. Like it was, a great empire, similar to like I wasn't around back then, but I
Mm.
guess similar to what America represents in modern times,
Mm-hmm.
and how there was a lot of wealth and influence, and they owned a lot of territory and had like military power, and with that came like a lot of distractions, and with that came uh the the
The
gladi
Colosseum,
the gladiators, the
Mm-hmm.
coliseums, the Roman players, the bathhouses. That like
keeping
they
the poor satisfied off of like bread and wine at the thing, so that they don't got to think about their day to day.
bread and circuses. You give the
Mm.
people food and entertainment, and they're not gonna too much complain about too much. And
Mm.
like for the rich people, as long as you're rich enough to afford bread and circuses for everybody, you can continue
Doing
getting
whatever
as
you're
rich
doing.
as powerful, doing
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to do, and the people aren't gonna do nothing because they're fed and they're happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as those people that they're feeding and trying to make happy, I think with the fall of Rome, does that lead to better outcomes for the people who are just getting fed and happy and didn't really have, too much autonomy over their own decisions? Or is that for the detriment of those people? And should they just, take the food and be happy? Because like on the other side of that, it's like it might grass might not be go great. You might just want to take this and just be happy.
Content.
So that's my question, and I kind of lean more personally towards the. I think the fall wouldn't be. I think it's going
And by
something's
this, you
going
meaning like the fall of America might not be as bad as we think.
basically, yeah. And the new birth of a new nation and shit come up.
I ain't rolling.
The crazy thing is that the crazy thing. The crazy thing is
I
that
ain't rolling.
when you see it, and this is what this I completely agree with Q. See, because my thing is that on the outside looking in, you could say that the fall of Rome was better for them, right? We can say that it was better for them if you're looking like
But why would
they were
it be
literally
better for them?
because it was like they were blinded by what was actually important. They were just
But Rome ain't
given
shit no more. They was the center of the world.
right. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, no, I agree.
But there's a
I'm
lot of
not with
people that
it.
weren't Roman in there.
But
There's a lot of Ottomans that came out of there. There's a lot of Arab people in Rome, and after when Rome fell, the Ottoman Empire came up, and a lot of the people that were the
Right,
slaves
but
and
the,
see,
the,
the
but the
and the
thing
Romans
is
wish
that
that they were still on top, not the Ottomans.
so it would be
but I'm an Ottoman. I'm not Roman.
the thing is that to the Romans who were content, that was the worst thing that ever happened in the history of the world for them because
Yeah.
they had to experience the loss of everything that they had become content with. You see what I'm saying? But then on the back end, like the same people on the outside of it, if you lived it, then it was the worst thing that ever happened. It could have potentially
Or even
became
through
something that
history,
was
like
better.
Romans, like don't nobody give a shit. What? Don't nobody care about what Romans do no more. But them niggas was them.
Mm-hmm.
And
They ran the
eventually, ain't
world,
nobody
bro.
gonna give a fuck about what Americans used to do.
Yeah,
Right,
but my
but
thing,
do you think
would
that
you
that'd
rather
be good
that?
for us?
Would that be? Would you rather that be the
I
thing?
mean, if America fall, I'm gonna be something else. I might like. But
Hey,
that's a real thing that happened back then.
What?
I'm be something
What
else.
did you just mean by that?
he just saying words.
Well, no, I'm just saying like
What else would you be? You gonna go like south of the border or north of the border? You gonna be like Canadian,
Ghana.
or are you saying like you gonna
Yeah.
be
He
whoever
said he going to Africa. He
the
said like
the
Ghana.
conquering class is?
He going to
Or
Africa.
you going to Africa to get exploited worse than we are already?
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Oh,
I'm just saying. My point is though, like
That
when
nigga crept into a
societies,
box on accident.
no, it ain't no box. It ain't no box. Y'all trying to use my words and twist. So I'm just saying, when there's fall of society,
Mm-hmm.
there's usually the people who are at the top are the ones that have it the worst. And we're not at the top of this society right now.
True.
like
So
give
like,
the
how would
example of
we
that.
have the worst?
True.
Like
You would just the idea of
even
that
like the
the
Roman
Romans. Yeah.
Empire, there was a small select group of Romans, but their empire incorporated a vast amount of people outside of just
Oh, all right. So you're not saying
Romans.
the fall of literally the city Rome. You're talking about
The
everything that
Roman
it
Empire,
controlled.
yeah,
Okay,
and
well,
how
I
that was
guess that
better
like that's
for
different. So then, but how would you push that into America?
where
Because that's like talking about like
there's
Afghanistan
a
or some
group
shit.
of Americans that control everything that goes on in this country that has really nothing to do with the vast majority of the people
Mm-hmm.
in this country. And so the fall of a system that allows those small people to have control might end up better for the
Mm.
rest of the average folks. And that's just all I'm saying. Is
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like some crazy thing, but in all reality, the shit that we got going on isn't really that great. And we know that it's controlled, so the fall of it might actually lead to something
Is it
better.
not that great,
But
or is it the best system of governance that we have in the world right now? Where else would you want to be?
I mean, Switzerland's a very
Switzerland's a good one.
Switzerland's
Your
a
black ass
very
want to be there though.
Switzerland. Yeah, I'll take my black ass there. Yeah,
Why you ain't there
Switzerland.
then?
Cause I got some shit to do, handle here before I leave. I got
Before
some
you
shit.
leave,
I
man,
got some
it was
shit.
already planned.
I got some shit to handle here
All
Nah, I
right.
feel it.
before I leave. But
What's your ETA? How long? How long?
I need a couple years. I need a couple
What's a
of
Two.
couple?
All
years.
right. Two.
3, 4, 5.
And you
You know,
Switzerland Johnny.
Switzerland Johnny, man. Swiss cheese, baby. But I mean, there are other systems out there like that
Like
are
what?
very um Like I said, I said Switzerland. I like. Well, that's really the one that I have right now off the top of the
So it's
head.
not a
And
lot.
what it's Switzerland is they're like a social democracy, right?
So like a true like democracy where they have a lot of
Yeah,
referendums.
do whatever you want.
And well, no, the people
Oh, you're
vote.
trying to go to a brave new world.
It's it's majority based, so the people vote on like it's not based on like how we have a republic and like we vote on leaders that
know shit
then
about
vote on our
socialism.
shit. They have a true like democracy
Hmm.
where they get to vote on a lot of their own issues like through referendum. They have like a referendum system where like instead of the officials deciding, they're like, what do the people want, and they go and they vote most shit out. And I think that's a way better system than like how we're in a democratic republic, which we vote for leaders and then they go and make the rules. And there's no
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
like once they're in there, we have no control over what fucking laws they make,
Right,
except
right.
just vote them out in 4 years. But in 4 years, they done
You know,
fucked us over. And that's all I'm saying. It's just a new system might not be the worst thing if we really look at it and break it down.
yeah,
Okay,
no,
so
no.
but
I would say that like you, and this is the idea that a lot of people say you got to tear it down and then rebuild. What you're saying is don't tear it all the way down. You're saying tear it like halfway,
that what
and
you saying,
then
Johnny?
and
Nah,
then let's
this shit
build
might
up
have
from
to burn
halfway.
down. This shit might have to burn down
But
to
I ain't
the
trying to
ground.
burn down, bro. I got kids and shit. I ain't trying to burn. I don't want my kids to have to experience the burn down. I don't want to
Well, I'm
experience it,
saying,
nor do I want my
but their
kids to
kids might
experience.
have a better existence than
Yeah,
you're able
but
to give
no,
your
I get what
kids.
you're saying, but
And
let's
so,
not burn
like,
it all the
I
way
ain't gonna lie.
down,
I
though.
don't even
Let's
think our existence really that bad.
okay,
say it again.
I don't think our existence right now is really that
a
bad.
man like bread and circuses. Like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
cool.
I think that we're pretty fucked.
It's
No, I
like,
think
I think that we
if
came down bulls when the bulls all the way
here's what's
down.
better. We've reached the conversation. I think that in the history of the world, we are in the 1 percentile of like best living.
No, no, no.
Especially even literally as us as black people in America right now today. Yeah.
No. I don't disagree with that. But see, the thing is that in the way that this best place has been created, it's been created on a fucking to the
life
point to where
always
it's
gonna
like
get
a
better.
cliff. You know what I mean? We're like on the cliff that all of these decisions of being
And
able to
that's
experience this best time. We at the cliff, and god dang, it's really looking like
Well, I don't know what's gonna happen.
but it's like the
yeah. I'm
stock.
hoping that it ain't.
I
But it's
also
like
If we
understand that literally every generation has always predicted that the cliff is right there, and then
But
guess
there's
what
yeah,
all
happens?
but
but
there's
see, it's
always
different.
been but
I
there's
think it's
Anyways,
based on different
but there's
things,
always
though.
been
no, but all
crashes.
I'm saying is that the boogeyman has always exists.
For
Like
sure,
even
for sure.
even if we look at 1984, if we look at Brave New World, if we look at pretty much any predictive book that existed that was written say 1931, 1953,
Right.
That's true.
they all say that the end is right here, it's around the
Hmm.
corner, and this is how it's going to happen.
We've been living in
And
our last days for
for
goddamn
like
centuries.
millennium.
But
Yeah.
there's been actual civilizations, and we go back to Rome, if we go back to like Egypt and Sodom and Gomorrah, that actually went through their last days. Like
True.
the British, and like so, like, and for each one, like,
British Empire.
yes,
Oh,
and America took that. Like we spanked them boys. Like they don't want nothing. We spanked them, and we took the Quakers and all of that shit. They ain't want no smoke
So
with us. One if
Yo, I got
one
something.
if by
so
land, two
you're
if by sea. They ain't want no smoke.
you're American.
I'm black.
You're a
oh,
black
you're not an
American.
American. No.
He just said we.
So I'm
He
telling
said
you,
we spanked him and then said I'm not American. I'm black. I don't know. Was you both?
Hey, I might have to, I might have to request a trade. I might have to do a dame dollar.
who you trading to?
Exactly.
What are you talking
I
about?
gotta do that. I,
Hey, my man decided that he climbing in boxes all episode.
I had a bigger point. Hey, man, I had a bigger point. Y'all know that, right?
Bruh.
Hey, Dave got
My
a little
man came up with his
commentary.
topic at U-Haul.
Just started buying boxes.
This buying boxes. How many do you have?
Dave, what you got, bro?
So it's like if society is okay, so say America fell, and I think we need to be thinking about it's like no, it's not about anything going away. Everything that's a distraction, everything that may go towards the pleasure principle, all of that stuff is here. I think that if anything, the fall would be the usage of this stuff that we have, like how you say it's not government that runs things, it's corporations, but really Q was like, you don't think that's tied in together, and it's because all they do is hand money back and forth. So it really is, they are tied together. But if like say things like money being taken out of politics, like what if money was taken out of politics, seriously? Or like what if the way that the system has been working just totally shifts into another pattern? It's all still here, and it's probably not gonna go nowhere, and we probably don't need it to go anywhere.
And that's why you don't burn it all the way down. You just burn it halfway,
Right.
and then
It's like, are we really
rebuilding
willing
from
to
there.
go back to cropping and
I'm cool with
harvesting?
America's foundation. I ain't gonna.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I
let's
mean?
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to go below our basic.
No.
Because
There's a bunch of places that's below our basic.
yeah, all we've done is really abuse what's
So
here.
y'all wouldn't be,
But it doesn't mean everything that's here is necessarily bad. It's just the usage of it is more of abuse, and that's what the detriment comes from.
let me ask y'all this then. Let me ask y'all, this might be another box, but okay. I got another question. Would y'all be cool with like rewriting the Constitution? Y'all wouldn't want to like try to do that, like, but wouldn't that be burning it down completely and start?
Well, are you talking about like amending? Or are you talking about like
doing
rewriting
away
the
with it,
entire?
rewriting it? Yeah, just,
Probably not, because then it's not like America. I think there's some shit that's there that we can fuck with, and ain't no reason to change it. Is there like different things to get amended? So what? How about this? I'll ask you this: what would you like to see amended in the Constitution, or tossed out? You don't really like guns and like the right to bear arms.
No,
You don't like talking.
I do like that.
You don't like talking.
I do like that. No, I think there was certain language written by the people who actually wrote this shit that where, especially when
Don't go 3/5 because they didn't already changed.
But that's actual language in the Constitution.
But it's not there no more.
So I'd rather have somebody who didn't think like that write the.
Yeah, but the
word.
thing is,
We talking
that's
about
what I'm saying. Amending it, so we have to adjust the language. We have to adjust.
And we already did that.
Make
So don't go to the
adjustments.
low hanging fruit. I seen that already. You went like that. I say that's a euro, and I stepped over. So what you gonna do now?
I got that up and under. I mean, but I do think like they're also outside of just the 3/5. I think like we live in a totally different. It was 200 something years ago. I think we have the ability to write that piece of literature for the next 200 years way better and in way more of a.
But what are some things you would like to see amended or added?
I need to see something about taxes. I need to see something
I
more
like
about
that.
taxes.
I like that.
We definitely need to amend and figure out, because they've been trying to pay somebody for years to figure out where it is in the Constitution that says we're supposed to be paying all these damn taxes. They've been trying to pay a motherfucker to find it for years, and they can't find it. So we're gonna need to figure that thing out. That right there, you and me, you're raping people.
I mean, we paying the taxes to an organization that is not even a part of the United States. So that's really how that go down.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So we're gonna amend. We need to figure.
Want to change,
We need to figure that part out. That's one of those parts. Like I'm trying to help you, John. He asked you what you would want to. I'm giving you one that, like, to me that makes sense. We need to figure out this tax code, whatever this thing is gonna be. That needs to be understood
like to amend
in the
that.
language in concrete in the
And I
Constitution.
feel like to me, this is where niggas drop the ball at. This is the real reparations conversation.
No tax.
I think that it's simple. I think that if you did these two things, and you might could pick and choose either one, is that A, reparations in the form of no taxes or a really lowered tax rate, because that kind of like equalizes a little bit of the playing field. So then as blacks, we end up having more, not equity, more capital over an extended period of years than our counterparts. Or B, the idea of free college in the same way that they give to Native Americans.
Nah, I ain't with the college.
Or you could say vocational school, whatever you want. But I say yes because of, again, I think that there is an inequity when it comes down to.
Well, I guess if you don't get into debt, then it's not as bad as what I was thinking. So I guess do that. I could see that. Do both. We both of those.
I'd rather.
I think we need both.
I agree with the tax thing. That's something I've always said, but I still take that 40 acres over the education. I'd rather have.
Oh no, I definitely take the 40
I
acres over
take
the
the 40
education for
acres.
damn
I
sure.
take the 40
That's
acres. I
easy.
take the you
I
ready to
take my mule. If you
run,
gonna give me the mule, I take bud too.
Well, I don't want the mule, but
I take, bro.
I would clearly take the
If
40
you give me
acres.
40 acres, I take the
That mule
mule,
gonna
bro.
cost
I
more.
keep bro
More
good, bro. I can keep him
I
good.
build a
man,
fence.
that
That's my
upkeep
I
guy,
cost,
build
bro.
a fence and
That'll be
be
my guy, bro.
that upkeep is worth. Is gonna be worth more than what that mule gonna give you.
Nah, shoot
For
me,
40
bro.
acres,
Let me.
I'm building townhomes.
I take
I ain't even doing houses. It's
No,
gonna be
yeah.
townhomes.
No, fuck the town.
I
Build
take
an
that
But
40
but the
apartment
acres.
reality, they
complex.
ain't never giving us
Oh
40
no,
acres.
that's not gonna happen. That's not. That's what,
But if we talking about like some
Hey, we can
realistic
burn
shit,
this shit
they
down and
also
write
ain't
that. We
ever
can
gonna
write
give
that shit in
niggas.
the new constitution.
Yeah, they also ain't never gonna give niggas money in the form of a paycheck. So like if you want to play the reparation game, you got to do it in the way that other people have actually got it done. And I think it's tax breaks and free education.
I agree. It's not one or the other. Give them both make sense.
I need both, and if y'all got 20 acres and a pony,
Yeah, I take a rabbit. 20 acres and a rabbit, my nigga. I ain't mad at you,
That's
bro.
America's scarcest resource right now.
Nah, for sure.
what land?
Land, yes, mother.
Yeah, yeah.
It's land in places that people want to live. We got a whole bunch of land out there. Like you go to Montana and like there's a bunch of like
Middle America.
it's a
Yeah,
bunch
I
of.
mean, it's
But
I
them
was
really
just
niggas
crazy.
don't
talking
want
to
to live there
somebody
for a
about.
reason.
Hey, but one thing I was watching, and
You
this
trying to live in Tornado Alley.
with with the climate change, y'all better get off the beaches though, because them shits ain't gonna be here in another 50, 60 years. Sea level gonna rise. They say most of America live within like 100 miles of the shoreline, like something like 60,
But
70.
erosion's not like a new thing.
Huh?
I never would have moved to the beaches anyway.
But not
Exactly.
erosion.
Like,
That's different. Erosion different, but the rise of sea level is something totally different. And they say like they're already like places like New Orleans where they're like losing land and like
Yeah.
Charleston,
It,
and
I mean,
it's
I guess
only getting worse.
what I was saying is that it just fast forwarded erosion.
So
Like the idea of erosion was that
Well, yeah,
eventually
it's-
that land
sea
was
levels
going to
was
get
yeah.
ate away.
yeah,
Oh,
but
it's just about the same.
It's
Yeah,
fast.
it's the same thing.
But sea level do that shit so much faster though.
Mm-hmm.
Erosion takes millions of years. Sea level could take hundreds.
No,
of years.
it doesn't take. That's not true either. Like the
I
Outer
don't
Banks
look
in
at me,
North
nigga. I
Carolina.
don't know how
The
long it
Grand
takes.
Canyon took millions.
Well,
Yeah,
the
you talking
Grand
about something
Canyon's
that's like
not
the
erosion.
big.
Like that probably is sea level, Grand Canyon, but it's not erosion.
Okay, never mind.
Retreat.
Nah, it is. It's a form of water erosion. That's how it was created. It was through water erosion.
Okay.
No, that's true. I mean,
Like
erosion. Yeah, that's true.
that's like. I
Yeah, no,
mean,
that's
like,
true.
But no, all right, but so
But
you're
it's-
talking about the craters in the Grand Canyon being made in comparison to erosion of a shore. Those are like completely different ideas. And what you're like the Grand Canyon millions
get
of years
that,
ago,
yes.
like the sea level was higher. So then like that's the difference. But like this is comparing apples and oranges. Like they're both fruit, but
Y'all
they
going on a
way
tangent.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't even want to. I ain't even want to go. I ain't even. I try.
Oh my bad.
Y'all going on a tangent.
I tried to stop it. So. No, I'm trying to make
And
sure.
then we put that UPS tape on top.
No, I'm
of it.
trying to
Oh
make
yeah,
sure
he
everybody got
done
their.
trying to
make
make
sure everybody got
stuff
their
very
seatbelts
nice.
on.
He got foam in
You
there.
had Dave. He picked it up and put you on a conveyor belt. That was crazy.
Label and all.
They was on my side.
Dude,
Okay.
you know that's Dave. That's
They
Dave.
was on my side, man. I appreciate that, man. It's 2-2. There wasn't no box, but I guess if we got the landing gear down, I'm gonna go ahead and land. It was a turbulent ride, but we got it down.
All right, fellas. So my question for the day or for the week is gonna be, where do you think men being so loud and so direct about our grievances with our counterpoints, black men specifically, I guess we, as black men, we're talking about black men having the grievances with our counterpoints as loud as it's been, where do you think it's coming from? What do you think is the reason for uh, us being so direct and so loud at this period in time? Because it's been years, you know what I mean? We really haven't seen a period of time where we were this loud about our expectations or what we don't like about our counterparts.
Gotcha. I think that it's probably a built-in resentment, or built-in emotion, and having a space to express that.
Mm.
I think it's because a lot of these. I ain't gonna be funny. I ain't gonna. I had a joke in there, but no, I think it's just. I had a joke. I had a
Say
joke,
it now.
but nah, I
I think
ain't.
it's funny. I want to laugh.
Yeah, go ahead. Fuck it.
I was gonna say, man, because most niggas was raised by their mama, so they in emulating,
Mm.
what they see a lot of times
I actually agree with that. I don't think that's a
from
joke.
Yeah, it's
their
not a
mama.
joke. It could be a.
But I think another reason, I think it might be more of the reason, is that like women want to hear like some of that from men now, and I think they encourage it a lot. Like even us when we
Mm.
get in our bag about like relationships and stuff. Most of the it be women that watch us for the most part when we talk about relationships, and they want to hear more of us talk about that dynamic. So I think it's a little bit of both us, like women wanting to hear that, and men just giving women what they want, and a lot of dudes who might not have had like the proper father influence to even know how to operate in what we would consider like a masculine way.
Yeah, and I guess for me, I agree with both of the points that you all made. And I also think that it comes from a place of being torn down as hearing men being torn down as a collective for so long. You know what I mean? We've kind of heard throughout our upbringing, men kind of being told about themselves, and then even as individuals, we've been like
Oh yeah,
told
for
about
sure.
ourselves in relationships in a very direct and you know what I mean, in a way that like it in a way that it's chinking the armor. So like, okay, well now there's a time where men are speaking. It's like, okay, well shit, I've been wanting to get this off anyway. I've
Yeah.
been waiting to get this off. And so, you know what I mean? There's a level of revenge, I guess, that a lot of guys I think they're feeling in this time period. And do you think that it will have a productive end? Do you think that it will end up being productive? Or Tony, you had something
Well,
before that?
yeah, there was something you said that I wanted to kind of tune in on. Like you said, like that we hadn't done this before. Like I think like within the past that there was a thing of us speaking up. Like it was kind of a we didn't have it. It wasn't like so notable because it was kind of just a nah. This is respected. Their word is respected. Like I think there was a thing where we was respected and we was vocalizing what we want and we
Hmm.
understood that
Mm.
what I say is law. I think we had a few generations where that was like washed away, where
Talking
it's like
about where
kind of
it's like the
whitewashed.
single mother household
Yeah, like
zone.
where it was kind of like a gradual push where it's like less appreciation for the man, and it wasn't just like our women got caught up within it within like other groups of women. It was like this was a thing
Mm.
like I think like different things amongst other groups, but I definitely think we're just speaking more now like because it's coming back around where even though I think they did try to wipe out the masculine perspective within society, we still are somehow becoming. I would say we're becoming back more masculine. I would
Mm.
actually say, or I don't want to say a new form of
It's
masculine.
hyper masculinity.
I
What
Yeah.
does that mean?
It's like I think I didn't come up with that term. It's a term that I've heard that I think might apply in situations like Tom's talking about, as far as just like you're running off like a very specific ideals of what masculinity is, and taking those ideals to the extreme and not looking at the
I wasn't
whole.
even gonna say that. I think we're kind of dare I say perfecting masculinity in a way.
I was thinking because if you think about when we were in school, that to me that was more toxic masculinity.
Or
That
maybe
era when we
toxic,
were in
yeah.
school, or hyper, not even toxic,
Hmm.
hyper masculinity. We were in school where it was the where you would pretty much portray this idea of yourself because that's what you felt would keep you safe.
But there's a lot of
And then
people.
now we in a time like it may, and I can kind of like I had never thought about the idea of like kind of perfecting what it means because that within it there's still like the feminine, well just the idea of being in tune with
I
your
see what you're
emotions,
saying. Yeah,
and then still but being a man with your back straight. It's like that could be us like
the balance,
perfecting
the
it
the, the
and
balance
not having it
of
be so much like to the detriment of anyone. You know what I mean? It's not so condescending to women. It's you know what I mean? It's literally like it's not oppressive.
Yeah, I guess in the most optimistic way, I think that maybe if you say if we place this time that we're in inside like a time capsule, then maybe we are in the form of perfecting masculinity, I guess, because we're actually having way more of the conversations that probably should have been had happened.
Yeah.
But I also say I think it's a lot of lost niggas right now too.
Oh yeah, for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
There's a lot of
It's like, and I think that that's the like the majority. If anything, I think that
You think the majority of us lost?
yeah, I think that it probably take like another 2-3 years. I think that if we look at it again inside like the scope of like a changing of the guards and us learning, I think that the Kevin Samuels era was really important for us.
Agreed.
But it also spurred a bunch of crazy shit as well. And I think that now we're inside the space where like people are comparing notes per se. Like it went from like, nah, you saying all the shit I wish I could say it, and then it's like, okay, what can I take from that and what actually applies to my real life? And then it's going to be to me like soon the next 3-4 years is going to be like applying that and like you know what I mean, just seeing what does and doesn't work.
And it's a little bit of the whoa, that's crazy. Like
Oh, that makes sense. And
we
then
don't need to go that far with it, and like it's a bit of like a course correction.
Yeah.
Like to where like sometimes like when you lining up something, you know, you trying to find the focus, you twisting that knob, you might get a little, you know, too far one way, too far. But it's about finding that like that perfect, you know, focus. And I think that's what some of the podcasts and a lot of the different shits you hear is us trying to just maybe dial in that focus and figure out exactly, you know, where we need to be with it.
Yeah, but I guess I would push back on the fact I think that maybe not publicly we've not had like platforms, and that's why we're hearing it more. But I don't think that guys have never not talked about the detriments of females in general. Like that's where you have like the gold digger conversation at. That's where you have like Eddie Murphy conversation at. That's what we like talking about bad baby mamas is not a new thing.
no, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Amongst ourselves.
Yeah, but I just and that's why I said I think that right now we have platforms in which we can actually do it. In the past, it was constricted to what mass media would be able to put out, and you had to go through that red line, and that wasn't like a thing at all. Like they wasn't gonna put a quote unquote misogynist show on.
Right.
It's easy to get like the shows where you're talking about, you know what I mean, women and their feelings, and daytime TV in itself is revolved around housewives.
For sure.
And that's where the quote unquote stories, i.e. the soap operas
as the world
and
turns
all of the daytime shows are based the women demographic is the main target. But I don't think that these aren't conversations that haven't been had per se. It's just not been on a broad enough scale.
Yeah.
I also
Or inside
will
a
say,
public
I
scale.
got.
I will say though, we're dealing with different women over like when you think back to like how women was over like different decades, we're definitely dealing with a different type of woman nowadays than what it was in say like the 80s or the 70s. I would say
I don't know how much I agree.
Well, there's less housewives,
So,
so like a lot of the women who watch The View, like that population is dwindling because there's a lot of women that are out here like working during the day. So they
Yeah, but I forget when the big push was. I feel like it was like between the late 70s and early 80s when women really like
I
jumped
even say
heavy
like
into the workforce.
I
But
even say like if you look
if
back
you're talking
at
about like
like
60s and back,
say like even if you look back at the 90s, do y'all remember like when Little Kim wore like she wore the thing to the BET Awards with the boobs out and it was like the pasty things on it. It was just covering her nipples and it was a huge deal. Women it wasn't a thing for them to be doing it now. She did something like that today, nobody would care. It's a normal thing now that we see all the time.
Popped out.
Like
J-Lo with that green dress too. That was one of them ones. Like it was one of them like red carpet moments where he was like, she wore that, and like that shit was like see through or something. And like Lil Kim, those was like two of the big like moments.
and you
yeah,
look
and
back
I was having a conversation with a black woman around our age too, just yesterday. And I was telling her like, and I've said this on the podcast previously. As far as relationships go, I think that we're in a place now that like a lot of people should just just chill for a minute because we're in a transitionary period. We went from women being pretty much oppressed to women being now they're liberated. They're not, but they were liberated before. They got liberated, and now they're out earning men. So then there comes a level of power that comes with out earning. They're gonna have to try to figure out what this looks like. They're gonna have to figure out how this can, even though I am making more in what we traditionally think of as the male role. You know what I mean? Now I have to figure out what do I value outside of this. That, you know what I mean? As men, we're having to relearn what that looks like for us as well.
We're both learning.
So the thing is that it's most people are going with the modern. Well, I mean, I think that's the modern scope is literally what is
But you have to live.
necessity at this point.
Yeah.
For the average person, modern relationship is necessity for the average person.
Right.
So we're having to recreate our thinking, and in doing this, that's why the chatter is just so. The chatter is all over the place. Is because this is a brand new period of time where women are in a different position than they've ever been in history. And then men are also in a different position than we've been as far as the way that the household our position in the household relates. So
it's a very similar like dilemma that we're both in. Like men, we're trying to figure out how to treat women like they're women, even though they might be making more than us, and we still gotta like figure out how to make them like feel feminine and be masculine enough to make them feel comfortable. Where a lot of time women are dealing with, I might make just as much as this guy, and I gotta somehow figure out how to make him still feel like the man and the leader of this
and
family.
then the acceptance
And
of like the
it's a
dress
delicate
code, and
balance
it's a lot of
of where
different
like
things.
we're
I got a
both
question.
going through the same thing.
So do you think that because again, to me, a lot of this conversation, there's parts I agree, parts I don't. But what I would say is that in general, when we look at like women and them in the workplace and like this whole dynamic, it's probably kind of existed probably since like mid '90s up to now. Like it's not specifically new. Especially once we just say in the past 20 years, 2000s up to now, it has been a thing. Like this isn't new.
But the out earning part,
huh?
The out earning part.
They probably
Is
started
Well,
earning this in
I
the
think
early
that
2000s.
like they've like even when I went into college, it was like 30-1 ratio. Like it wasn't like a new thing that they were getting more professional degrees, i.e., earning more X Y Z. But to me, like during that time, these conversations didn't even exist. It was almost implied, and it felt like we had already got over this hump. And then it seemed like the internet made it smack us again, and we had to start rehabbing these implied conversations that everybody already started doing, and it was already like a thing that already existed. And this brings me back to a meme that I had seen earlier this week where it talked about how like the posting of such viral / detrimental content about male and female versus relationships, and how it actually impacts us. But again, like previous, like the early, like it's not like women just started working. They've been working, and they've been like men been working with them, and like all the marriages that we know that are tenured, we talk about how both of them be having to concede shit, and ain't no like specific thing. But I feel like so much of that shit was implied back in the day, and like once the internet really hit and we got to like this conversation podcast,
we got stuck on it. I think because like I think those conversations were still a thing because even if you think about like the one example comes up to me like the Jamie Foxx show.
Okay.
You remember like
and
Fancy.
Jamie was alright. I mean, Fancy was alright.
Fancy was alright.
Yeah.
And so they had a couple episodes about like this same topic about the dynamic. I think Martin and Gina had an episode about the very similar
like it's not
thing,
a new conversation.
Steve Harvey show. Steve Harvey and Regina. She was his principal.
And then that is true. Yeah.
Like that was one of the first ones. Like
it's actually been pushed more than not. Actually.
Like if you go
like
through like TV shows,
it's a TV show where the woman isn't working
and making almost damn near always making more than the man.
Yeah,
even in new shows like the Upshaws and how that's Mike Epps' new show on Netflix.
I don't watch Mike Epps,
but his woman making it's the same thing where like we as a people know how to deal. Like we even know how like in through artwork know how to like handle this thing. Like there's been so many shows that have showed how to handle it. It's like we know how to do it. Like you can just look at our TV shows. Like it's happened.
You think it's because
Even Cosby Show didn't.
I don't remember if she
Oh,
was
nah, they
working.
both was rich.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
But I'm
he
saying,
was
but
the
that's.
doctor, she was the
But she
lawyer.
wasn't just
Oh,
the
okay,
kept.
yeah,
But she wasn't kept woman. She was making just as much.
That's a good word.
Oh yeah, she
Do
was
you
a
think
lawyer.
that like it's because social media made us over fantasize about being the rapper, entertainer, whatchamacallit, like whatever you say, and live by those ideals,
Not just
and it
social
flattened the
media.
world inside that
Because
concept?
I wanted to be a rapper before social media came. It was just
Oh no, for sure, but you didn't see like. Okay, I get you. I guess I'm saying like the
Damn.
idea of like. Go ahead.
I was just looking up the. So there's it's been an uptrend for sure, and I think it's more. This is going to be more of a black thing because I'm just looking up the statistics. I mean, this is from CNBC, and it's pretty much who are the breadwinners in U.S. marriages. This is marriage based. So in Asians, 56% of the men earn more than their women, and
That's still fairly even.
was 56 and 30%, and then 14 is wife. So no, I'm sorry. So 56% of the men make more money, 30% earn the same amount, and then 14% women earn more. That's in Asian. In black community, 40% of the men earn more, 34% of the of 34% earn the same, and 26% earn the women out earn the men.
so it's a little higher in the Asian.
Then Hispanic, 62% of the men out earn the woman, 26 are the same, 13 the wife out earns. When in the white it says 54% of the men earn more, 29% earn the same, and 17%
It
earn.
sounds very similar.
Yeah, and I mean the reality is that like all of them is between 40 and 60, which means pretty much half of
It
everybody.
sounds very
No,
similar.
that's 62% for Hispanics and 54% for white men, 56% for Asians, 40% for black.
Right,
Men out earn their women.
right, but to me,
It's a little lower,
but this is what I'm looking at is the idea of both are earning equal, and then she's earning more, which on all of those
Are fairly similar.
they're all, which means that nonetheless in most of these communities everybody's working and earning very similar.
just black men are getting a little outdone.
Yeah, like so if we're saying like men are at 40 and at 60, if all right, so if we're the lower, still 40-60 isn't crazy in comparison. Like that means instead of 4 out of 10, I mean 5 out of 10 for white, it's 4 out of 10.
Compared to like, it's not like 70-30. Like,
Yeah, it's and the reality is that it sounds like it's a similar thing that everybody's going through. Like,
Oh no,
and
no, no.
most of
Based on
those-
based on this, they're saying that it is. I mean, it's increasing as years go
Yeah.
go on, but it is pretty much something that's just.
But if a
happening in
woman
their face.
are like, let's be real, if she earning equal to you, it's the same as her earning more. Y'all on equal playing field regardless. Like she, the same leverage, the shit that she gonna talk, earning the same as you is the same. I mean, it's gonna be very similar if she earns more. In
I don't know
comparison to
about
like
that
if
one.
you're the nigga that's like you're the breadwinner. A woman that's working and contributing to bills is going like it's just a very similar dynamic.
No, it's
regardless.
different than if she earning more than you.
Nah,
If she
I don't
earning
think
more
it's
than
that
you,
much
see the
different.
thing is, I think
That's
that
what I'm saying. Like,
I'm
unless you're
talking about
like
and I'm-
she's just like 80-20 in you. But if it's like 60-40, 70, like I don't think it's that crazy.
Well, I'm only speaking about like I haven't experienced this, but I've seen other people experience it, and from my me listening to the guys who've experienced it, it sounds it's definitely it sounds much worse. There's much more talking down to
Well,
than it is if we at the same place
But
or
is
even
it
close.
like is it a vast, because anywhere we have a
That might
vast
just be bad
differentiation.
character people too. You can have
Well, I
bad.
mean, that's the thing too. That's the thing too. Like, I'm not saying that this is the. Of course, we aren't talking about the. This is not one shoe fits all type of thing. But I'm saying just the people that were around me in those scenarios where they where she earned, let's say even in the 60-40, 20 grand more a year. You know what I mean? I've definitely heard those stories where, you know what I mean, how you supposed to be running and telling what's going on in here and you ain't even, you know what I mean?
But women that's paying, like those same character women that's paying half the bills are going to say the same thing.
Like she'd be still talking that shit if she was making 40 grand too.
Yeah, and she was paying half the bill. Like, regardless, if she paying half the bill, she gonna talk and shit. That's the point that I'm
Yeah, but
making.
it's less. Oh, I mean, I'm not debating that part. Okay, we can run with that. I just think that like there is a bit of like
So of course, like if she earns more and puts more in, more shit's going to get talked.
that was the only point that I
And
was
I
making.
guess what I'm
That's
saying
the
is
only
there's
point.
a baseline of like shit that's going like 50-50. If you're going 50-50 with Shorty, regardless, like it's gonna be way different than if you paying 100% of the bills no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And even if like she paying like 20%, it's gonna be way different. And that's what I'm saying. Like most of America is dealing with like 50% and up of a woman earning. And I probably feel like even the women that's earning more, I still think that it's probably like 60 or something like that. 60, 40, 55, whatever. I don't think that I think it's gonna be rare that
Bro, I
women
think that
have kept men than men have kept women.
there's a larger population of women that are not earning 50% of the of bills than are. Let's not breeze over the fact that the majority of the workers in department stores in all of these different places, these women, those are women most of the time. So it's not. Let's not act like I understand we around
What
a
do you
lot
what
of
do
women.
you I
What I'm
guess
saying
what do
is
you say
that what
about
I'm saying is that well, no,
You
I
saying
guess that
men don't work in
debunks.
because
department
like the
stores?
statistics
No.
that you
Hold on,
just
hold on,
said
hold on.
still hit it
I'll
about
take
50%.
I'll take that back since because we just listened to the statistics.
Yeah.
We just listened to the statistics. So what I was just saying was just that was ignorant after hearing the statistics. So
Well, you
I'll
read
walk
them.
myself back on that, huh?
No, I said you read them. You ain't hear them. You read them
Oh, I
shits.
read them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, say niggas don't work in department stores.
That ain't what I said. That ain't what I said. But see, what I was thinking about, is when I actually go into the department stores, there are just predominantly women-based workers.
Mm-hmm. But there's low income
Don't
men
try to
workers as
goddamn
well.
see you trying to find a box for somebody else to fit in because you've been in the motherfucker all day. Don't try to be looking for no box for me. Hey, just get comfortable. Just get comfortable. Get comfortable.
So I guess what does that leave us at in this conversation?
Sounds like we hell, we think that at the end of the day, I think I agree with all of the reasons that we have for why we think men are so loud at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I don't know if y'all agree. I think that just we're in a space here where we're recreating the relationship dynamics,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have to see. I'm thinking honestly, it's getting to a point to where I have some confidence in what the future will hold for us as a community
Mm-hmm.
because the dialogue is not as like you say when Kevin Samuels when it initially happened, it was very much so like one side against the other.
Yeah,
Now
the
even
verses.
even the basis of like our demographic of listener, we have a lot of women listening.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's starting to shift.
Mm-hmm.
They are more intrigued about what we think than it seemed to be prior to, and I think that that's going to be beneficial down the line.
Mm-hmm. Johnny?
Oh, I'm good. I think, like I said, I think men and women, like I think we we both like literally for society to survive, men and women need each other. Like we have to come together. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the like God designed it that way. That's the only way this thing works if men and women come together. So how we gotta figure it out. But like however we gotta figure it out, I think we gonna figure it out. I think sometimes the internet makes it seem darker than it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you
True.
come outside and touch Earth, you'll see you get a little more hope. You'll see real
It ain't as
shit
bad as the
Mm-hmm.
internet
going
say.
going on. But it'd be good to have a conversation sometime and just
Yeah.
think about it.
Hey, to all
Mm-hmm.
my niggas, I like to say, if you go outside enough, you'll get some pussy.
That's where it's at.
Hey, women.
That's the only
Hey,
place
hey,
it's at.
That's where it's
It
at.
hey,
ain't
hey, women.
inside your crib.
Right.
It
Listen.
ain't inside your
What
crib.
about like women? If you're a quality woman, you gonna be alright.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be simple as that.
And be quiet. And I think that the goal on both
But
sides
quality
should be
also doesn't
to.
mean like because we get caught up in this. You probably about to hit on the same thing is that quality doesn't mean like be attractive
Mm-hmm.
or make a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being a good person and then having a couple characteristics of each and or. But
Good
like if
character.
yeah, like bro, like to me in general, I don't know too many good people that just be like super struggling. Let me reframe that. I'm talking about women right now because it be good niggas that be struggling. I ain't gonna
No,
lie.
It's hard out here for a pimp.
Yeah,
No,
nah.
and
It's
Nah,
hard,
because
I think
niggas
so
gotta
on
change.
both sides. It be some decent
And,
women
all
that be
right, and I
struggling
also
too.
like now
especially the ones that
retract.
don't be selling
And
no
Go
I
ahead.
do
especially
think
the ones
that
that don't be selling no
there
pussy.
are
Yeah,
baselines.
exactly. The ones that don't be selling, there be some good women that don't be selling pussy.
Oh,
That
I
be
don't think. I think. I
that.
think. All right. So let me put the
Yeah,
baselines in
just
there.
take all that back. It's
No,
just
I ain't taking. I ain't
Nah,
taking.
he was finna say they all be selling.
Nah, I wasn't gonna say that. Listen, this is what I'm saying is that. So we do have to always put baselines because there's certain great women and men that ain't ever getting chose, and they sit at certain markers in which it's gonna be tough. And the only way they got it, only way they get chose by exploiting themselves or choosing each other, right?
see they just need
So
to
like
choose each
y'all know
other.
which
It's
ones
They
I'm
okay.
just
talking
gotta
Just
about.
choose
choose
each
each
other.
other, yeah.
Just choose each other.
like yeah, I know they make shows about these people,
Yeah.
but
You gotta, yeah.
all right. So like
They
once we
make
move,
shows about these
but
shit.
like once we move them out the way, right? And we just
Mm-hmm.
talking about like a medium attractive woman or a medium attractive man.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in general, if you're a good person, you're gonna be alright. I
Facts.
think that the out like the attractive woman that's a shitty person, she gonna struggle.
Struggle.
Like
She gonna sell pussy for sure.
yeah, and the same
She
difference for a
gonna
nigga.
sell it.
She gonna be on
Same
that
difference for a
block.
nigga. But I be seeing some women they be finding them easy, and I be like you kind of medium mid attractive, but
They
they
be good
figure it
people.
out and they get them roped in.
Talking about that, and they be
Vice
good
grip.
people.
I'm talking about a vice grip.
Talking about the
I'm
vice.
saying, hey, that vice grip will get
Yeah.
it done.
Oh, that's talking about. All right. That nigga stupid. I'm talking about a vice
That
grip.
vice grip will get it done.
But Johnny talking about a different vice grip, but that vice grip also will get it done. Ladies, we also say here at To Be Fair podcast,
Some
this
exercises
is
for
a
that.
30
I
plus
was about.
podcast,
Ain't
and I
nothing
like to say
wrong with
that
the gym. You know what I
It's
mean?
some
well, no,
exercises
what
for
I'm saying
that.
is like, ladies, this is a 30 plus podcast, and we do advocate for you to do your Kegels.
Them exercises.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we all got to be honest about where we stand, and it's okay to be honest about where you stand.
And
See,
what
the thing
you like
is,
too.
and where you lack at, you could just develop in other areas, and then you'll be able to get closer to what it is that you're looking for.
I heard a girl say, "What she lack in the back, she packing the cat."
Hey, that's so. Oh. and, and the bad thing is that niggas be too inquisitive.
What you
No
mean?
wonder. Yeah.
I'm trying to see what that be like.
Hey,
All right, Johnny, what you got for us?
Oh man, nah, that was a good one though. Like we took it, you know.
it was fun.
We broke that one down. We unpacked that one. We broke down a couple boxes, you know.
Nah, you still in
Box
that
cutters,
motherfucker.
you know. Box cutter the
You
boxes
still in
up.
there, bro.
Okay, I got one. So kind of building off of two spaces that we've been at a little bit. Where it comes down, we've been touching a little bit on politics.
Mm-hmm.
We've been touching a little bit on like addiction,
Mm-hmm.
and I had kind of ran across this book that I thought was really really interesting. It's called A Brave New World, and it kind of like spirals both of them, and it puts it inside the idea of a futuristic world of oppression, where a brave new world is a future progressive liberal version of what the future could look like. It is a society that is based off of the pleasure principle, pretty much.
The pleasure principle.
Mm-hmm. Where everybody lives their life pretty much drugged up. They have a society that is based completely around the idea of pleasure, hedonism, and because of this, there's no crime, but there's also no family. There's also no mothers, no fathers, and I thought that it was interesting because of to an extent, today, as I look at society, I think there's a lot of parallels that can be drawn from it.
Is and this is where the whole when it comes to that thing, I guess this may be the more important question. Is it a free will? Shout out to the album. Is that a free will choice that people are making, or are we being forced into these decisions? Because one could argue if this is just what we're choosing, the pleasure principle. If we're a society of people who would always choose pleasure as opposed to like discipline or whatever, the antithesis of that would be. Is it that we're really being oppressed, or are we just like choosing to be oppressed?
And that was what I was going to ask. What does the oppression look like? Like, how does it?
One, who are the oppressors, and two, like, how are they oppressing us if this is something that like we're choosing to do? Like everybody wants to get on TikTok,
Gotcha.
and stuff
I
like
think
that.
that.
That don't like that to a lot of people. That don't sound like oppression. That sounds like, oh, that's
Oh well, I mean, I think that low hanging fruit is always an easy choice to make, but I think easily said is that it's oppression due to the fact that it allows us to stay docile. Where today we also have the most amount of information ever given to us, in which we can actually see in real time how this system doesn't actually work for us. This system doesn't work for most people, and the flaws that's within the system, whether we're talking capitalism and the hierarchy that is the class system of America, and there's nothing easier than keeping a class, i.e., say an underclass, distracted and happy off of easily satiable things instead of figuring out, oh, why is this shit wrong? And let's overchange this. Let's overturn this.
right,
Let's
right.
overthrow this. So it's oppression through distraction. Did that answer your question?
When I think of oppression, I think of like an outcome. You know what I mean? It's like it looks away. It's a feeling. It's a
Well,
like an action word. So it kind of it kind of lends. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the outcome is we're less productive as like people. We're getting less and less done. Like that's the outcome. It's like if it's this one group of people and they're very like strong willed, determined, and they're gonna fight through whatever. One way to stop them is to get them distracted and like and so the outcome is of people that are less determined, less united, less willing to fight back against the system and stuff. So like I understand, like I get the outcome. Like I can see how it's working. I can see it, but my question is like I see the outcome. I see how we're oppressed as people. We can just go on the internet and look at all the trauma bonding and the trauma Olympics that they have on there. Everybody want to be victimized and stuff. You can see the outcome of it. But my question is, if it's something that, and it's been done time and time again, because we could go back to Rome, we could go back to like Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, there's a bunch of like different examples of the same shit happening within societies throughout the course of like history. But if it's something that the people are choosing, like say, like slavery is a type of oppression that you're not choosing. They're putting you
Right.
in shackles. Like that's easy to fight against. I don't want shackles on me. Like that's easy to fight against, like slavery. But in this type of oppression, when it's like the oppression of your choices and like it's like how do you fight against that and like what is the solution to
Right.
that? And then that's always my question.
And to me, the build on it, I think that it kind of goes into like the idea of if happiness is too easy, does it stunt growth? Um, and I think that that can be seen a lot. Where again, if you can be content and be distracted, where like normally maybe it'll be reason for you to get up off your ass. It'll be reason for you to go and get some shit done. But if you can be distracted by these quick dopamine hits inside wherever you're at, does that end up stunting your growth? And is that kind of like where we end up seeing a lot of specifically, maybe like let's say underprivileged, underclass, quote unquote, the poor class? Is that what is pushed mainly on us to where we end up being content and it stunts our growth because of the happiness is so easy. The
Yeah,
entertainment comes so
it
easy.
does. It
The
does.
Absolutely.
distraction comes so easy. Yeah.
I got another question to that. So my thing is, yes, it is our immediate happiness. The microwave versus the oven. It is worse for us to take that immediate happiness, that easy happy. If it's too easy, it probably ain't good. But the question is, or for me, I got another question: is how do you solve that problem? I'm trying to be solution based now. Is the solution with us as people to make that decision, like to us to individually decide I'm not going to use that, or does that where the government have to come in
And I guess that
and
was the
That's
piece
what
of the
take?
that's what his
question that
question was.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that was
guess
a
that's the
piece of his
piece of the
question.
question that I was asking, and that's why I think it ties into addiction a little bit or a lot
Mm.
of it, in which for me, thinking about as I coined it last week, like soft addictions, and how easy it is to be able to like think that it's something that you can easily give up, but it's a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
I.e., say like the distraction of like whether it's drinking or smoking, or like we talked on porn, but social media, like that's an addiction, and the dopamine that it hits is a chemical reaction. And it's easy for all of us to say, nah, that should be easy to give up for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But we keep pushing that can down the road, kicking that can down the road.
Mm-hmm.
In which, yeah, I don't know.
I think that like to answer, I don't think that there's. And when you ask the question, is it something that society, us as the civilians, have to do, or if it's something that the government will be implementing to force the change?
Well,
Why
because
would they want to? To me, like I think the government benefits most from
For
it.
sure.
but no, I don't
Yeah.
think the government are the ones that's behind this. I think it's these corporate the the businesses run this country, not the government.
Absolutely.
So I think it would be in the
Oh, you don't
government.
think that they tied it together?
They are, but I think the government is a separate entity, and I think if you theoretically, if you got the right people in there, they can use the framework of what's called the government to actually fight back against corporatocracy in a perfect world.
Yeah. So
I'm
so
saying,
to
but what I'm saying is though, like for them to come, if whether whoever it is, if they come in and take away these things that are detrimental to us, or would we really be okay with that?
I I, I think that the answer wouldn't be, and this is something that I think that we believe this as a whole, like accountability. I think that we have to, as individuals, make the change. I don't think that
Mm-hmm.
it's going to come from, you know what I mean, the
Right.
the government to implement some law or whatever it, you know what I mean, that may have you
That's
to.
yeah, I agree
So I think that it's
completely.
it's going to be the individuals, and I think that literally it would take something catastrophic for us to align ourselves in moral principle as a society,
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
because we are so much more. We love the negative. We It gets us through our days to know that things
It's easy
are so
dopamine there.
much more fucked up for someone else. I don't really get it. I try my best not to intake a whole bunch of negativity, a
Okay.
whole bunch of the idea like, oh, these people messed up over here, and just talking about celebrity news and talking about all of this,
But I think
the low
do
hanging
you
fruit
say that you
conversations.
but do you just get distracted with some level of entertainment?
Absolutely,
And I
absolutely.
think that
And
that's more so
I
what it
mean,
kind of like hits closer to.
I think that we all, if you ask anybody like that question, your first thing will be like to take the defense, be like, no, well, I really don't. But then, like you say, this is soft addiction. It's the
Yeah,
one
and
that
it's
you
usually
don't.
like something that we might sports could be an easy one.
Hmm.
Like we not going we look at that different than say looking at basketball housewives and shit like that. But there is a
Hmm.
space of that
Some people
we're
be
kind of like still just drowning in just nothingness. It's not like anything that's important and
Right.
productive to bettering ourselves day to day. Like shit, during that time watching the game, I could easily be investing inside something that can make me money in the future.
Hmm.
A skill, a like some new code or some anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I don't think it's just as simple as just you getting distracted because like of course like anybody like even back in the day when there wasn't no cell phones and stuff, people still needed breaks and they still needed that.
Of
I
course,
think it's
but that's
more
speaking at inside like a minimum. I think that today, truthfully, how often are all of us with a phone in hand swiping? Even a lot of times, even at the red light, a nigga just pick up their phone.
true,
Even if you inside a crowded room full of people at a function, niggas still on their phone.
Hmm.
Everybody's attached to the thing.
yes, but I think and I understand what you're saying, but I guess
Mm-hmm.
I guess where I would want to maybe pivot and make it more broader is like I don't think it's necessarily like because even back in the day, people would probably need a distraction when people as general more productive, but it's about what do we value. And I think it's
Hmm.
about us valuing that internet shit and evaluating those opinions. Not the fact that we just look at it from time to time, because that's not what makes it bad. It's about us valuing and how much clout we put into these things and how
or
much
how addicted you are,
addicted you could. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say I'd use that word. How addicted we are to.
and how that actually controls your outcomes that you end
Mm-hmm.
up having.
Yeah. It translates. It translates right over, especially when you see the type of things that you are addicted to, the specific type of information you are addicted to.
Right. Now,
Because there could be a positive addiction, could be I'm addicted to looking at the market and the changes, and you know what I mean. That could be an addiction that can pay out in a positive light. But for most of
right.
us,
And
we're
that's a good
addicted
point. That's a
to the
great point.
negativity.
That's
Quick
a,
forms of entertainment and distraction. One thing that's easy to point out is that there is we can call it like pre phone slash social media era,
Mm-hmm.
and then a post cell phone social media era, and like the way that everybody is like distracted. I think that you have a term called zombie mode. Like,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times you're walking through life in zombie mode, and a lot of times that should be done like this now.
Yep.
Just doing this, whether you're playing a game, whether you're on social media, whether you're on whatever it is. And again, I think that it just begs the question: is easy access to happiness a actual detriment?
It is
Um,
absolutely.
and to me, I guess that was like the original question I was trying to round it into asking.
I agree
The
with. I
easy
think
access
it
to that.
is too,
Um,
for sure.
and before we finish off this question, I thought that there was a really interesting concept that they had inside the book in the show, in which so one concept that they had was like the idea that monogamy didn't exist. There was
Hmm.
no monogamy. Pretty much like every night they had orgies and
Orgies
different
and
shit like
shit.
that, having kids, all these different things. They had to them what they called it. This was a primitive way of living, right? And they had they had a theme park in which they called Savage Land, right? And so at Savage Land,
Oh
they
shit.
had they had what was called the House of Want, because inside their society there was no more want,
Hmm.
because of everybody kind of like they had a caste system, but everything was already provided, and everybody was happy and distracted, right? And so the House of Want, pretty much when people came to the House of Want, what they seen was the idea of Black Friday. Like they had a bunch of people, the savages, that was dressed up, and they opened the door, and on them opening the door, they'll go and fight each other. Like it looked like a Black Friday crazy little moment,
Hmm.
right? They had the House of Consequence. House of Consequence was the idea of like these people were so primitive that they had to section off parts of their society from living with each other, i.e., jail, because of they couldn't they couldn't be a part of like their regular society.
Hmm.
And then they had the House of Monogamy, in which that was symbolized with like a person, like a pregnant woman getting married. And I thought it was interesting because they like inside their society, what they did, they said that family dynamic gives too many reasons for like distraction and like jealousy and like these negative emotions. So they pretty much sterilized everybody. Everybody was test tube babies, but to them they said it was primitive to get married, to be monogamous, and to have kids.
Hmm.
And I just think that was really really interesting, especially inside a lot of spaces that we're evolving to now in society, especially when we get into like the House of Monogamy and messaging that's pushed consistently. Whether we go with like the alphabets, whether we go with like the idea of like open relationships,
Mm-hmm.
whether we go with the pushing away of like a lot of
Oh, okay.
Traditional.
yeah, you could say a lot of traditional family values. I think that it's really really interesting inside space. I don't know what y'all think.
I think I totally agree, and I guess where I
What are you
was
agreeing with?
that I think like the easy access,
Oh, the original question.
the pushing of like a lot of these ideals, I guess we could call it, about like
Mm-hmm.
freedom and you can just do whatever you want to do without consequence. You know, you can just I can do whatever I want to do. There's a lot of problem with like societies. People feel like I can do, say, be whatever I want to be, but when it's time to like be held accountable for like that people don't want to do that, and that's why they had a house of consequence, the house of monogamy, where like a lot of these like you just said it, but a lot of the ideals that are being pushed in nuclear family,
Mm-hmm.
in man, woman, child, because they say that's primitive, but
And I
we
guess that was the part that I thought would be interesting for y'all to answer. Like the idea of them categorizing that as primitive
well, I think
and
that's
saying
a
that that's the root. Because I mean, like truthfully, you can also say that there's a lot of death, destruction that has came from religion, and I mean,
I've
truthfully,
always said
family
that
and
about.
family dynamics.
I don't think not as much death destruction that came from family dynamics. I think religion
Well,
has
they
played
also
a
didn't
role.
believe in religion. They kind of put all that
Yeah,
together.
but
They
but
didn't like God wasn't like a thought of thing.
but I would admit I think we're on the point now where like we're in like the
Wait.
brave new world where we're moving away from that family dynamic and we see the results of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my rebuttal question or like because I agree with your or I don't know if I agree with your question, but my answer to it was yes. I feel like it's a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
and my thing was how do we like how are we gonna shift it back?
Mm-hmm.
Like outside of like the in our, it's gonna like I think it's gonna take
Well,
like a pushing like an
it's
emphasis on the black family, the black women, black people being together, and we're gonna have to some kind of way figure out how to use these tools that they've given us to unify. And that's like we're gonna have to bring the community, like you say. We can still do the same thing instead of watching a football game like on TV. Why not go coach the kids?
mm,
And like you're still, it's the same sport, but instead of it just being a distraction for us, we're actually using
building.
it as a tool to bring community and bring people together.
I like.
I think that if we're gonna if as we can say we as we see the I think that I think it's healthy to do away with the idea of religion, right? But the spiritual part is where I think that is mandatory in the changing of the type of change we need. Because the thing is that there's is it's the spirituality provides consequence. It provides
Accountability,
a lane in
accountability.
which accountability, because what we strayed away from religion, spirituality, and then now it's more like a you see a pocket thing, like pockets of like these people, this person, they'll be spiritual and not religious. And I don't the portion of the religious versus the spiritual, we can say just the disagree on just using the term spirituality, right? We can just use the term spirituality. The thing is that as we've gotten further and further away from that, we've seen the community get worse and worse and worse.
So
The
should
level of accountability, the level of appreciation and partnership, the level of the nuclear family, all of these things have been getting worse and worse and worse as we've decided to do
damn it.
away with everything that we use to hold us accountable outside of being governed by
So wouldn't it
by
mean we
the
need to
law
go
and
back to religion?
see, we're not see you saying religion, and that's why I say when you say religion, that gives that context of where that can be easily argued. It's easy to
But you said
argue.
as we've gotten away from religion,
Well,
the
that's why I said we're
community
going to use the
has gotten
spirituality
bad.
portion. That's why I said we use it. I'm speaking about God. I'm not talking about all
Okay,
of the
okay, okay, okay,
intricacies, whether
okay,
you
okay.
believe in all of that and this and that. I'm talking about God.
God,
I'm
okay.
talking about God. So the further that we get away from God, the worse we're seeing our society lend itself. The more susceptible we are to the things that are to the detriment, the more susceptible you are to all of these distractions, the more susceptible you are
Okay,
to
okay,
the very things that
okay.
actually we complain about in our communities and our culture.
Can I ask you one more question then? Outside of religion, what's
Spirituality.
what's well no, I'm saying but like outside of the opposite of that spiritual, outside of that religion, that craziness,
Hmm.
all them rules, like outside of that, what's the closest way to get back to God as a people? If we're not gonna use like quote unquote like religion,
The thing is that
how do
see,
we get back to God?
it's going to be actually trying to experience a relationship with God as an individual. It doesn't necessarily have to do with us trying to pat ourselves into a group of people that agree exactly on the same thing. Da, 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 da. No, it's actually, where do you, what makes you feel that what's right and what's wrong when you that when you have that well, you know, they may say like the Holy Spirit, but when you have that subconscious mind that sit there and it's like, you know, good and hell well.
Well, a lot of that has to go with like it's about a certain type of accountability,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like who do you hold that accountability to? Is it some like ideal in the sky, or is it like to the people that you're around every day? And I think like I do have some accountability to like my friends, my family,
Mm-hmm.
my community, to where I always want to like do the right thing and so like positive. And that's where like my spirituality, my religion comes from. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I always want to do the best. When I'm around good people, it makes me a better person because I always want to do the best and like live up to that. And I think, like what you were saying, a lot of these distractions they get us away, and even religion, and like there's a lot of things that distract us from actually being accountable to being good people to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, the community and that unity. Like when I'm around good people, it makes me want to do better.
For sure.
And like not being distracted, it helps me focus on that. And I think that's one of the biggest keys that we're gonna talk about, like getting closer to God.
See,
It's like that God aspect could be where do you put your accountability
And I
and where do
guess
you put
like
your value?
and the
Because the thing
value.
is, the big thing in me to me is that we've come to a point to where we value capitalism.
And
We've bought into the idea of the system in which we believe in more, that we believe more in that
well,
would
we
make us,
believe in
that would fill us more than a relationship with God, where it's like the God is the point in where you're gonna the it doesn't take for the financial resource thing. The thing is that these are assets.
or even the fruits of it, like the Instagrams and the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need
If
none of
you're
that,
placing the values being placed on things that are of the world
and not
versus
the
it
world.
being placed on things that are inside of us, like God, little G. I'm a God, little G, right? And so if with that, then it's more of it's inside. You placing the value more on something that, hell, getting money, that shit changes every day. You can get money today and not get money tomorrow, or you can all of that changes. The thing is, but what's in your heart? The person that you are, the person that you want to be, what you know what I mean? That inner thing, that inside, that's the thing that has real value. That's the thing that has real value, and we've gotten away from the spirit, because that's all spirit based. What I'm talking, that inner value, that's all spirit based. But we've been able to be convinced into this external value system that is capitalism, and that is where the destruction has happened.
It's
You start,
capitalism, it's religion, it's a lot of other things. I think we right there on the same page. Like I feel
yeah, but you
like
keep trying to deviate back to religion. And I understand that
well
based in the
because
name of
they
history tells us,
because they've used religion as a tool to
and I get
like
that, and that's why
separate.
I say spirituality. And that's where I keep going away from the word religion, because of the context in which we know that a lot of people died. We know that, you know what I mean?
But that's what I'm speaking on. That's what I'm speaking on that opposite side. I'm just I
Okay,
want to
okay, okay,
reiterate. I
okay.
want to reiterate your point, but I'm just speaking on the opposite. Like you're right, and when you talk about that opposite side, I want to call that religion, and then
Got you.
call this spiritual. Yeah, well, we on the same
I
page.
got
We
you. All right,
agree.
it's
We
still
agree.
like,
got you.
We
I guess my own thing, I think that it was a little bit of a hop from. Well, I mean, y'all kind of touched on the exact question. Y'all kind of got involved into like the, I guess, religion versus spirituality debate. But I just thought it was really interesting, the idea of calling religion primitive, and then saying that if we take away religion, family, and replace that with pleasure and happiness,
hmm.
that you would eliminate most issues that people have in their day to day.
Do you think so? I don't believe so.
Um, do I think so? I
I don't
think that
believe that works. I don't believe that you
I
eliminate.
actually don't have like an
Oh,
idea of if it does, if it would or wouldn't. I think
no.
that religion could be said to be probably most people in the world that have died over the span of human history have died in the name of religion.
not in
Like
the
that.
name of religion, but while believing. Is that what you
No, no,
mean?
it was literally in the name of religion. Like
I
all
see
the
what he
crusades,
said.
all of like
Oh,
Crusade,
so what you
like
said?
all of like everything.
jihad,
Yeah,
crusades,
it's
like
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
they.
So
in the
let me make
name
sure I
of
understand what you're saying.
religion.
You're saying that the majority of people in the history of the world
The
have
world,
died more on
like
religion
they have been
versus like
killed.
regular
Yeah,
versus regular causes.
No, all right. So not talking about
Most
like
regular
dying
causes are
of like we're
based
talking
in
about
some
like
type
people
of
that have
religious
like
belief.
got killed.
Okay, so
Not
people
like
that were
people that
killed.
naturally
Oh,
died.
that's
Yeah,
why I was trying to figure out what you were saying.
yeah.
I'm
I
just trying to
guess
make
yeah,
sure I
yeah.
Oh, I
understand
see.
what you're
I,
saying.
no,
I'm not trying to.
yeah. Let's keep
Okay,
going.
go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah. So I do think that's an interesting point, and I think that's kind of what the author was playing off of is the idea of how much destruction has came off of the idea of religion and slash jealousy, and how one may say that that is the root of some evil, some primitive thinking, in which you kind of end up like getting your emotions and shit like that mixed up in.
So it's the idea is to give up all moral value base and to accept everything that is all of the flesh, all of the fleshly wants versus anything that has any moral discipline,
Yeah, so
accountability,
like
and
you
like
don't have wants anymore. You don't have to worry about happiness. Um, and yeah, I mean like that.
yeah.
That's pretty much it.
It sounds like all of the motherfuckers they're gonna die early. They're going to
Well, it doesn't
But
sound
the
like.
idea is like, is that the liberal utopia that is people are today is pushing us to get to?
yeah.
Well, that
Now
doesn't.
that right
But I
there
mean, but the
is actually.
question, but
Did you hear? Hold on, you heard him right?
the liberal. That's what it
Is
is.
that the liberal utopia that
We're being
everybody's
pushed.
that they're pushing for?
Yeah,
And that is actually, if you look at it in its totality, and you draw a line down to let's say
right.
100 years from now,
Yeah, like if all
if this
progressive
is the
and liberalism, like,
yeah
and
yeah
that's why I
yeah,
say like, and then
if it
that's where
came
I
down
say like
to
it
it,
kind of comes into like the idea of oppression because then like people are so caught up inside their worldly or fleshly or like day to day happiness that you don't have to worry like, or you don't worry about what's real, like your real situations and scenarios. And yeah, like I said, just think that that's somewhere to leave it at is, um, is that the idea of what the liberal utopia would be, and is that something that we actually will want? Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting. But I guess if I guess we about beat that one down.
that was an interesting conversation. That idea was very interesting to kind of run through.
Yeah, I think we left it off at a good point. I think this will be a good time to tell the people, hit the notification bell, subscribe if you still watching, hit the like button. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on our threads. What's it called? It's the To Be Fair Show.
Yes, yes.
Another
The To Be Fair show.
the like
okay.
like the university,
Oh.
the To Be Fair, the To Be Fair Show.
We had a struggle with that at the event. They thought it was two E's. That's all I'm saying.
We did.
The To Be Fair Show. It is the To Be Fair Show. Another great show. Appreciate the boys for pulling up. Appreciate Dave, Tone. Appreciate you. I am your host, Johnny P.
Over here, real.
It's Q.
And we out.
I was trying to reset it. Then he started doing his camera went on right then.
What part I gotta do over?
Just do the
The
Johnny
name.
old head real.
Okay. I am your host, Johnny P.
Over here, real.
It's Q.
And we out.